whoever you want to say hi to, welcome them to the call. If you need to share the link with the people in the community chat, just go ahead and do that before we get started. But today I had an interesting topic for you. No, for sure. Well, yeah, I'm not that crazy about myself. I am crazy about myself, but not that self-centered that I'll be here talking about the S word, the Shiro. Oh my God. Yeah. Hold on. I'm not sure. I'm not spotlighted. Oh, sorry, you guys. I think it's because I had minimized it. All right, there we go. Good. Is that better? Is that better? Is that better? No. I think I spotlighted myself. All right, is that better? Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate people in the background just getting it together. It takes a village, trust me. These calls are not easy. Like this is our new normal where we have to do all these calls on Zoom, and we're still getting used to it. I used to hate Zoom, especially in 2020. I was like, if I see one more Zoom masterclass on my timeline, I'm done. Like I was done with all those calls. But welcome again. So good morning, family. It's another great day for us to be alive. You're here, I'm here, and another day is an opportunity for us to be great. God has given us an opportunity to be here and to make the best out of this day and to be great. And I want to welcome you to today's morning devotion. I believe that by this time in the week, it's already Thursday. I always tell people that the moment I became a trader and I got on this journey, like days started moving real fast because I'm starting my day at the market open. And so I'm living in days like before they even happen. And so right now I'm already getting into Friday, like whatever, like time just flies. When you get into this, into the trading and stuff, it's like you're thinking about the next plays and stuff. And so time moves so fast. Like the last year when I started the journey, it was so fast. The year ended so fast. And I'm sure that's how the same year is going to be because I'm busy and I'm, bettering myself as things go by. So I believe that every opportunity that God gives us is for us in another day that you're alive, I'm alive, is for us to be great and to maximize our potential. And by this time in the week, you should be pumped up. You should be like Carnisha says, it's all gas, no brakes. You should be accelerated and you should be moving closer and closer to maximizing your potential towards the weekend. Like I saw, I think it's Phyllis who had posted, don't let the weekend be your weekend. Like, we're coming to the weekend where people are like, okay, let me take some extra time and just, rest. But each and every one of us has a talent which we can use to make a significant impact on our families, on our communities, until we are able to leave a lasting legacy for this world. And this is what I wanted to talk about. But there is more than me having talent about, the talent that there's those talents that you have. Let me see you. Is there a talent that you have that stands out that, I have this. This is one of my talents. Let me see you. Let me see you acknowledge the talents that you have in the chat. What talent do you have? Let me see somebody. Who has. If you have a certain talent, like I have a talent of just well, let me not tell you about mine because I want you guys to tell me about your talents today because I want to teach you something today that goes beyond the talent that you have, something that just goes beyond motivating people. Great. That's good, Carnisha. I see you. Who else has a talent that you recognize, something that you recognize? God has given me this. Like this thing is just sitting in me. And yes, there, yeah, Rita, great. Worship. Yeah, I'm a worship leader too. I love worship. Oh my God, that's my zone. One of my things I tell people, I do many things. I can do many things and have them well, but worship, that's where it's at. Yes, having faith. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, faith is what makes things happen. If you don't have faith, about yourself and about the things that you believe that you're about to do, it's not going to happen. Chapos last weekend, they make that's not your talent, Beryl. Just leave that to somebody, outsource and pay somebody. There's a real nice lady that I can give you her contact after the call that makes real nice chapatis. You can keep trying. So don't cook for us, no chapatis. They're gonna be out so hard. Oh my God. She just had to do that. Hard chapatis, we're not about that. We want to preserve our teeth, so we don't want that. So I say, like, each and every one of us has a talent which we can use to make a significant impact on our communities, starting with our own family, our siblings, our parents, but or out there in the world, that there are people who have talents that we've seen. Oh my God, it just started from a small village, from a small community, and now everybody in the world knows that this person is talented at this. This is what this person does, and so until we are able, because of our talents, we're able to leave a lasting legacy in this world. But then there's that thing that I'm talking about, that there is more. There is one more step to having talent, which is what I named in today's session. Let me see if somebody guessed it right now before I give it up. Helping people. Great. Yes, Anne. Great, great, great. That's awesome. Nobody guessed it. All right. So nobody's getting anything from Cash App from me today. No Cash App for anybody. Nobody even tried, apart from, yeah, Noni did. She did try. She said, Shiro, at least, wait, okay. All right, thinking caps on before I'll give 5 seconds. Let me see who guesses. What is the S word that I wanted that goes be? Oh my gosh, she got it. Jerry. How can you wait? No, how do Jerry, oh my goodness. Oh, everybody just dropped some fires for her. Like she just went and oh my goodness, I'm so impressed. You're definitely getting something from me. You will be getting something from me. And I'll let you guys know on the next call what she gets. And she'll have receipts too. Because I don't want to be somebody who's promising stuff and not doing it. So beyond talent, there is that S word, which is whatever I named today's session. And I just wanted to, get your curiosity, get your mind going. What is she talking about? And so the S word stands for service. And service is what makes a person super. These are the best kinds of people. Like every time you meet somebody who is a servant, somebody who's just giving, somebody who's just like giving their time, giving their talents, like this person is just pouring. There is a pour, there's an automatic pour that comes out of this person. And every time they're pouring into people, and most of the times it's like without even regard for themselves. And my dad is one of those people, just pouring into the community that we're from, just pouring without any regard about himself. Yes, he does the self-care and stuff, but then he pours without having that selfishness in mind, without having that holding him back. Like, what about me? What he cares about more is about the impact that he leaves with a little community that we have, like the impact that he leaves with the people. Like I see people all over in the village, all over in the town. Like he's the go-to person because of how he has just an automatic selfless pour that is coming out of him. And so, he becomes a solution in the place where he's at. And so this is what makes people like that super. When you find somebody that is pouring their life, that is making time to show you something. Even in our community, we have all these servant leaders. We tell you all the time, we don't have to do these calls. Like we don't know, I don't want to be rude or anything like that. We don't have to do it. Like all of us are paying for the same services. We don't have to do it, but we make time, because in serving, there is something that is also in you getting fulfilled as you make an impact around the people that you are with. And these individuals, they look for opportunities. We look for opportunities to serve others, and we use our talents to help others, and also not just serving others, serving humanity, but also in service to God. Somebody talked about worshiping there, and I said about how I love worshiping, and you guys know that my core foundation is based on my spirituality and my walk with God. Even why I call my mindset sessions, I call it where mindset meets spirituality, because I always have to merge the two together. So you might say, well, Shiro, I'm not Superwoman. I'm not Superman. And I mean, I barely have time to help myself. Yes, I know that sometimes the problems of this world can seem overwhelming, but if you let them, only if you allow the things overwhelm you, each and every one of us can attest to this, that you have something personal going on. But every time when you make time to help somebody with something, it kind of leaves you with some fulfillment. Like, I made a change in somebody's life. I made a difference in somebody's life. And so this is what it's almost like service is calling your name. The S word is calling your name for you to get in a place where you start pouring. And so it kicks out selfishness. You cannot be a servant and be selfish. You cannot be a servant and be self-centered. There has to be something that you're not just thinking about yourself, but you think about the humanity as a whole. You think about, how can I offer myself up to God, even also to be of service to, because the moment you offer yourself to God, he offers you up to to serve humanity. He offers you up to serve, because in any capacity that you're serving God, you're also serving humanity. And so listen, in order to live a truly empowered life and to empower others to do the same, you have to learn that the secret to your growth is in becoming a servant, let me ask you something. It's Thursday right now. How many people did you serve this week? How many people have you served this week? Let me see you. Let me put you on the spot right now. How many people have you served this week? How many people can you say right now? How many people can come on this call right now and say, Shiro poured into me, or Shiro served me this week? And it's not because you expected something in return. It's just genuine service without you wondering, without you like, okay, I have something that I'm expecting from Irene at the end of this. How many people have you poured into this week? If you look into your life, the far that you have come, however old you are right now, how many people have you impacted with the life and with the talents that God has given you? How many lives have you touched with your service? Just going out of your way without expecting anything in return, just being there and just serving, pouring out without expecting anything in return, and just knowing that the return is going to come to you, because most of the times where you serve and where you give is not where you reap from. There's always along your path. God has designed it in a way that sometimes along your path is where you're going to reap it. You're going to reap it. There's sometimes he allows you to reap from the same place, but most of the times in your service, it's something that you are doing for the greater good. You are paying it forward. And so as you move forward in God, as you move forward in your journey, the payment and the benefits of your service, they come along as you go. Is somebody with me right now? Are you guys understanding what I'm talking about? So in order to live a truly empowered life and to empower others to do the same, you have to learn that the secret to your growth is in becoming a servant. Could it be that your growth has been stunted, that the growth of you or whatever you've been working on has been stunted because you're focusing too much on yourself and you're not serving others? Could that be the reason why you are not growing? Could that be the reason why you are not prospering in what you are doing? Because even in prayer, I find that most of the time I love to pray, and I find that most of the times when I decide that let God use me to pray for somebody, I find that God is answering my own prayers in a very speedy way, than when I spend time just 24/7 praying for myself. But every time I spend time, I'm like, let me spend 30 minutes and pray for this person. Let me pray for this person. Let me fast and pray with this person privately so that we can accomplish that thing. I find that God starts fulfilling the things, the desires that I have. So sometimes you'll be like, oh, Shiro, but aren't you abandoning yourself? Aren't you forgetting yourself? I will pray for myself, and I'm very serious about praying myself. But for myself, and for those who are connected with my family, my siblings, everything about me. But there's that I've found that most of the times when I commit, like I zero in, I'm like, okay, let me pray for this person. Let me pray, and when I'm praying for others, it's so crazy. It's so crazy because when I'm praying for them, it's like God has raised somebody else somewhere else to pray for me. And so my stuff is getting done, is like getting expedited, because I didn't focus just on myself, but I became of service to somebody and I offered that service. And so it's coming back to me in another way. Are you guys with me so far? So I'm going to show you that, will show you why that S word is important, why the S word, why is the S word is important, and how you can walk through just anything by just learning that the power of servanthood, just learning the power of that you can walk through anything, you can become anything by just learning the power of servanthood. So are you guys ready? I want you to fire it up. I want your engagement to be like on 100 right now, because you remember last on Tuesday, I was like, I don't feel like doing this call, so you're not gonna see my face. I'm like, but today I'm on it. So let's get started. So many of us equate service with servanthood. Service with servanthood, but there's a difference, and because we quite don't get it. I think, sir, this is advice that if there is any vice that anybody should have, it should be that passion to want to make this world a better place and change other people's lives. That is one of the things that you should have. It's not just about you. It's not like, let me tell you, life does not revolve around you. It's not just about you. Could it be that things are going the way they're going because you're focusing so much on yourself? You've been selfish. You're just living like from the outside inward instead of living from the inward to the outside. You're focusing so much on yourself, and so that selfishness, it kind of like what is it called, clenches around you. But the moment you start pouring that, and you want to make a difference in this life, and you start making a difference in this life, and you notice that things start happening for you. Once you start wanting to make this world a better place, it starts with me. Making this world a better place starts with me. Making this world a better place, it starts with me. It starts with you and I. And so service is not equating service with servanthood. That's not it. It's not about what you do. It's about who you become. So change starts with the person and not with the process. And this is one of the things that I feel is going wrong with most of us. We come up with more programs and more processes and more policies, not knowing that the key to success and changing the corporate destiny or the trajectory of your family or the trajectory of a nation or an individual or a community, it starts with an empowered individual who knows that my life is an offering. I offer up my life. The greatest man, Jesus, he offered up his life so that we can be what we are today. And that's what these calls are all about. It's all about us living an empowered life. It's all about us focusing. We come in here, we pour all these gems into our lives, myself included, because it's also a learning moment so you can evaluate yourself. Because I always tell people, every word you hear, everything you hear on these calls that we get on, God holds you accountable for it. You're held accountable for what you hear, You can have no excuse 5 years later, say that I didn't know that I was supposed to serve. Listen, God keeps records. He has receipts. He's going to pull the receipt and be like, here's the receipt. On February the 15th, right after Valentine's Day, you were talked to about servanthood, about serving, about pouring out your life to other people. And so this is what all these calls are about. We come in here to empower each other. So for most of our lives, we think that the more we do, when we live doing more, not knowing that what we are really looking for and what we really need, what your spirit is really looking for, and what your spirit really needs is to be more. And that's being a servant and not just doing service. Did you know there was a difference about being a servant and just doing service? You could do 100 things today and talk about you're doing service, like you're serving, but no, you have to become a servant. You have to become it's something that has to be embedded in you. It has to come out of you naturally, the servant. So let me ask you right now, when you think about servants, who comes to mind? What comes to your mind right now? Every time when I mention this name, this word, what comes to your mind? Service, it starts with a person. So the first question that comes to my mind, why not just be a leader and solve all the problems? Because most people think that just because somebody is a leader, then they're a servant. Well, I'm going to throw out this oxymoron, and it's kind of like a coin phrase, and I call it servant leadership. And they almost seem as if they are opposing concepts right now, when in fact they are not. A leader is a person who serves. They have the ability to push people up. Leadership to most of us means that it is somebody in a certain position that holds this title, somebody who, when they get in the room, we all bow down, or everybody's scared, oh, what is she was gonna say? She's a leader, blah, 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 all these things, especially in church, even in the marketplace, or even in the corporate world, where if a leader just gets in, everybody's like, oh, here they are, somebody you bow down to, stand up when they get in the room, they give commands, and we're all running in different directions to go and fulfill their wishes, which is a completely false narrative about leadership. But on this call today, you're going to learn that you could be more. You could feel more alive by giving things away. That is your talents that we started talking about at the beginning of this call, giving your gifts, giving your talents, giving your experience, giving your knowledge. Like these calls, like every call that we do, we're coming here, we're giving you knowledge. They are the leaders, they care, they take the time to do the research. I take the time to be in the word. I did my research, I'm here, and then I'm giving you the knowledge about what I learned, and I'm giving you the experiences of the things. So it's more than leadership. It has to become it's somebody becoming a servant. It's a journey of becoming, where it just comes out of you like an automatic pour. You're giving your knowledge to others. You're giving it away, whether it's your family, your children, your community, or even your workplace. And the reason for all this giving is so that you can make things different. Every time when you notice something, okay, maybe this thing, it needs to be like this, maybe this needs to be going like this. So every time when you're doing that, you're making a difference. You're like, oh, that pot doesn't need to be sitting there, or that shouldn't go that way. So you give yourself to ensure that those things are lined up, those things are in the right place. You see that somebody is failing in their trading journey, and be an accountability partner, and to help that person, not because you're expecting anything from them, but because you want to see a fulfillment of whatever the desired outcome they want to see in your life. So service can actually alter the trajectory of your life. It can alter the trajectory of your life, and I mean every aspect of your life, from relationships to health to even finances. So what are some of the names? I asked them, what are some of the names that come to mind when you think about service? What are some of the names that come to mind when you think about service? Let me see some of the names that come to mind when you think about service. TD, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. I remember, like, he's a father. I just love Bishop Jakes. I remember when he started doing the boreholes in Kenya, where in some of the arid areas, and he would go there, people who didn't have water, and he would make sure that they had water. Okay, who else? Who else has a name? Who else? Phyllis Shiro. Oh, Stevenson, yes. Oh my goodness, Irene, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Phyllis is always pouring. And Felicia, yes. Oh, these are people, they don't have, and one here, Carnisha. Did you all see when Carnisha was really sick the other day, and she was there, and I'm like, my goodness, I wish I could just get into the, transform myself into some kind of bird or whatever, and just go give her some water, because I'm like, my God, the girl is not feeling well, and here she is just pouring into the people, because for her, it has gone beyond just doing acts of service to being a servant. It's something that is embedded in you. It comes out of you automatically. Phyllis is always like, oh my God, she's there, and like I've been in Phyllis's house, and she's there. She's always on the call with somebody, helping somebody, and just pouring out all the time. And like, we have some of those names that come into your mind when we think about service. And then we have people like Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Gandhi. Those are some of the names that kind of rolled out in my mind when I said, and in my own dad, when I talked about what can I share in this segment that will really get you turned on and passionate about service. And these are people that we have studied. We've studied their lives. We've looked for the model, the pattern that we can use in our modern generation. These are individuals that actually they gave service using their talents, their gifts, their time, etc. Anything that they had, their money, They used that. They're like, whatever money they got, they would go feed the hungry. Whatever opportunity they had, they would raise a campaign just talking about justice. These are people, they gave their time, they gave their talents, they gave their gifts, they gave their money to better the world around them. And so it became not just, it impacted not just the people around them, but the world as a whole. And I don't think that as they were serving, they knew what type of impact their service would have on the world, or that their lives would get reference to this very day. Can you imagine? Can you imagine serving for that long? So what service does, it's that service, it kind of imprints your name in it leaves a mark for you. It leaves a dent, like the people can tell, no, like the years after I'm gone, I wanna be able to leave a dent and to leave a mark on this world. The years after I'm gone, people will say, Shira was here. Shira was here. So what are you doing to make sure that you leave a mark? What are you doing with your life? Is it just day in, day out? Are you impacting people? Because that's how the moment that you're gone from this world, that's how it will be known that Shira ever existed. Some people just pass away, which is really sad. Everybody forgets about them because they never did anything significant with their lives. Whose life did you touch? Whose life did you impact? And so this is why it is very, very important to think about the S word, to think about the S word. And so you might say, right now, you might say, well, what do I have to offer? You have a unique gift, whether you know it or not. There is something that stands out about you. There is something unique about you. God didn't make us all the same. You and I were not the same. Even though we might be born on the same, we might be born on the same. Like Nuni and I were born. We're just like 2 weeks apart on our birthday dates, but we're not the same. That's why I don't believe all this horoscope stuff, because it's just a lie. None of us behave in a certain way. There is that the unique DNA that God has in each and every one of us. There is that uniqueness that God has in each and every one of us, that you have a unique gift that you can give. There is something, that gift has been given to you to impact this world, to impact our life. So your gift, like the names that I just mentioned, could be a service to a community. Or maybe the Marriott Hotel that changed an industry through service, or somebody like Ray Kroc, the McDonald's founder, to build an empire so that even long after he has died, his legacy still lives. Let me see how long, what's going to happen to your legacy after you're gone? Or will life end at the gravesite when after people mourn for a few weeks, and then they'll be doing the memorials every now and then, but nobody will remember you because you never made a mark. You might say, well, what does a hamburger with sesame seed buns have to do with the service? Everything, because had it not been for Ray Kroc, the McDonald's would not exist today. Had it not been for Mother Teresa, who left her country and went and hang out with amongst the poor and indigenous in India, we'll never be talking about her right now. I'm talking about you as an individual asking yourself this question: what do I have to give? And you have something to give. There is something in you. You have something to give. There is a talent in you. There is, just start honing your skills. Start preparing yourself and start. You don't even have to go out there and start, renting all these halls and stuff. Start right where you are in your family. Start right where you are in your community. In the chat, start right there. Let's see you serving. Let's you be of help to somebody. That's how it starts. And then the feeling that comes once you start serving, and that once you becoming a servant, then you get into the stage of becoming. Once you start serving a little bit, then you feel, okay, this is bringing a lot of fulfillment to me. Then you get into the process of becoming. Whether it is building orphanages or feeding the poor or changing the world with one drive, one desire, and that is to live. I am determined. Let me tell you, I am determined to leave my dent, quote unquote, like Steve Jobs said, I am determined to leave my dent on this world. That's what he said. Remember when the iPhone came up, and then he said that he didn't have long to, and then before we knew it, he was gone. He changed the way we do business, the way we educate our children. He changed it when he introduced the iPhone. He became an icon once he did this, because the iPhone individualized technology and boarded right home so that people were not terrified or intimidated because they didn't know anything about computer. He just demystified it. He took the mystery out of it so that each individual can feel comfortable using technology. So you can just get on your iPhone and do whatever you need to do. You can get on your iPad and do whatever you need to do. So this is what this call is all about, helping you to hone in, to be able to find your unique gift and to be able to answer the question, does my life really make a difference? And what can I do to make a difference? And if you do not know what your purpose is or what your gift is, I always tell people, whatever annoys you, that's what you're called to do. Like, I get so mad at disorder. Oh Lord, I'm bouncing my feet up and down right now just talking about that. I hate disorder. I hate like when we plan to do something, I want us to do it. I like things to just move like and I can be too militant on things sometimes. Sometimes I have to kind of like, Shiro, calm down. Okay, we get it, yo, whatever. I hate disorder, and I hate when and those are some of the things that I go correcting. I hate dishonor and things like just mentioning, just you see the face I'm making already. It's like stuff like that. Those are things that I'm called to solve. Those are things that I'm called. I want things to go a certain way. I hate it when I see people struggling. I hate it when I see people suffering. And so these are some of the things that I'm called to solve. I hate it when I see somebody not being able to live their full potential. I hate it when I see somebody, we've just buried somebody, and a few weeks after that, they're gone. And I saw a quote one time that said, live your life, something about living your life, because once you're dead, the dead are easily forgotten. The only thing that will make us not forget you is because of the dent you and I leave. We have to leave a dent on the world. And so this is something that I'm so adamant about. So whatever, if you do not know your purpose, if you do not know your gift, if you do not know the thing that you want to get into, is start the thing that you hate, the thing that you're like, you see it on the chat and you're like, oh my goodness, I want to just jump in through here and whatever, and fix everything. That's what you are called to do. That's what you're called to do. So today I wanted to help you understand that service is not just about us going into the trenches to feed the underprivileged or help the underprivileged in your own home, community, or business industry, or in the nation, but you can bring bear to your gifts to solve world problems and leave a legacy for the next generation. For the next generation, I've written a book about this, so I'm so passionate about it. It's called "It's Time to Manifest." It's time to stop sitting on the gifts that God has put in you. It's time for you to rise up. There are those things you've been saying, like we have this saying all the time. It's a religious thing, and every time when people say that, they're trying to tell you, Shiro, shut up. Mm-hmm. Somebody will be like, and I'm like, no, you're not going to try to use that. Really, I know church people too well. They'll be like, oh, I'm waiting on God. No, God is waiting on you. God has already given you everything that you need to become who you are. God is waiting on you to get off of yourself. God is waiting on you to overcome yourself. God has already input the gifts in you. There is nothing that you're going to sit here and be like, all you need to do is develop and be like, okay, this is no, everything about me, everything that God intended for me to be. It says that before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. I made you a prophet. He didn't say that I made you to develop into a prophet. You're going to develop into a prophet as like whatever. No, he's already calling me a prophet. He's already telling me this is what I want you to do. He's already calling you an entrepreneur. He's already calling you the thing that you feel that this is where I want to go. God is not looking at you in the process, like, okay, no, he's looking at you as a finished product. He's already put everything that you need in you, everything that you need, so that if you feel comfortable, you get out of your he's waiting on you to get out of your comfort zone. Get over yourself. It is not about you. And the moment you say yes to serving humanity, the moment you say yes to serving God, becoming a servant, it starts as a process where you now start becoming, and God now removes the limelight. Takes the darkness out of things for you, and you start discovering, okay, this is who I really am. This is who I really am. So we're talking about working together towards the greater good of humanity. When we talk about that S word, that's what I wanted us to help understand. It's not just about us doing things and stuff. It's about becoming, working towards the greater good of humanity when we talk about service. And I want to talk about the tying together of service. In order to be great, there's a quote that Jesus made in Matthew 20, verse 26. He said that for you to be great, for one to be great, you must first serve. So maybe that's why you're not great right now. Maybe that's why nobody knows you. Nobody knows your name yet. And it's going to remain that way because you're selfish. You don't serve. You don't want to do anything to do with other people. You don't want to offer the gifts that God has given you. You just want to be there praying about you. It's about me. What can you do for me? What's in it for me? What am I gonna get for me? Maybe that's why you're not great right now. He said that in order for you to become great, and this is at the time when the disciples thought that at first they went and asked, one of them wanted to have a seat on the right hand, and the other one wanted to, and he said, no, that's not what greatness is about. The greatness and service and the greatest about of you all is not who is sitting on the biggest chair. It's not who is sitting on the highest chair. It's about who is serving the most. It's about who is a servant the most. And he said to them in Matthew 20, verse 26, yet it shall not be so among you, but whoever desires to become great among you, let him be your servant. It's about service. Let me see you in the chat. It is about service. If you're ready to start serving your people, if you're ready to start serving your children, your community, if you're ready to start serving, so that you start acquiring whatever you need to do to start acquiring that service and becoming a servant, so that you can start empowering others. So success to me is the fulfillment of purpose. That's what I think success is. Everything else is accomplishment. When you know who you are and why you are here, this naturally leads and morphs you into being a success. When you know who you are and why you are here, this naturally leads and morphs you into being a success. You don't want to just be in this world and not leave your thumbprint or your voice print for the next generation to know that listen, I am determined. They will know that I was here, that I'm going to make a difference. It might be right now, like it looks like it's in a small community. I've made my mark in other communities and stuff. Right now, the Lord brought me into the marketplace for a difference. I mean, for a reason to make a difference there. But I'm telling you, I'm determined for the next generation to know that there was a woman called Shiro who existed. I made this impact on this community. I made this impact in this world. Whether it's maybe you're meant to discover something, but because you haven't honed in and you haven't gotten in there within yourself, just because for you to find out to figure out who you are, for you to figure out who you are, you're not gonna it's not something that will just come. You have to kind of like get into yourself for God to start revealing to you the things that you can do, the things that you are, right? And so I have to leave my mark. I have to leave my mark. People have to know, are you determined? Do you want people to know that you are here? Do you want that? Do you want people to know? I'm waiting on an answer. Do you want people to know that you are here? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? Or what are you going to do with your talents? Because you have talents. You have stuff that God has given you. You do have it. And sometimes I change my tone like this to speak to you so that you can, my preacher voice comes out a lot on most scenarios, but I'm kind of like talking to you right now. Do you want to leave your mark? Or do you, the moment that let's say that you go right now, God forbid that you go right now, but what are you going to be remembered for? Of how selfish you are? You didn't do nothing. Yes, you took care of your family. Is that where it ended? So I want you to ask yourself, what am I here to do? How can I make a difference? How can I leave a dent? One of the things that John Boris said, that for anything worth having, one must pay the price. And the price is always work, patience, love, self-sacrifice. No paper currency, no promises to pay, right? We all know a few people who promise to pay, but they never pay. But the gold of real service. I love that quote. Let me read it for you again. You see that for anything worth having, one must pay the price. And the price is always work, patience, love, self-sacrifice, not paper currency, not promises to pay, but the gold of real service. So service is real gold. That's what he's implying here. And so Muhammad Ali also said that the service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Service to others is the rent you pay for your room. And all these people that I'm mentioning are people that the moment I mention their name, you remember what they did. You remember what they did. They are gone, but you remember exactly what they did because they left a mark here. And where did the mark start from? From servanthood. I just love that quote. No money, no gold, no silver, but the rent that we pay for living on this earth is service. That is so brilliant. And one of the things that Jesus was able to say in the book of Luke 4:18-19 is this, that the Spirit of the living God is upon me because he has anointed me. He has empowered me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and the recovery of the sight to the blind, to set the captives free, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. So I'm decreeing over you right now, over your life, that this is the year of the Lord's favor upon you and your family, in order for you to create a change, the change that you want to see in your community, that you're going to rise up and start serving, that you're going to discover who you really are. And the only person that you're going to discover it from is your manufacturer. Every time that if you have a Honda, you're not going to take your Honda to a Toyota for them to fix it, for you have to go to the Honda and let them fix it. So you go to your manufacturer and let them give you the manual or the paperwork about yourself so that you know, oh, this is what I was created to do. When you start seeking him, help me to know what you created me to do. Don't just live your life, just, oh, it's another day, here we are, okay, and then boom, one day you're gone and nobody remembers you. You're gone and forgotten because you never pushed, you never got to the place where you seek. It says, seek and you will find. If you start seeking who you are, God, who am I? Why did you create me? What mark do you want me to leave on this world? He's going to do it for you. He is going to do it for you. So the change has to start with you and I. Could things be the way they are, like we said earlier, because you are the way you are? What one thing can you change that can change everything right now? Could things be the way they are right now in your life, in your community, in your nation, in your family, because you are the way you are right now? You don't want to change. You just want to be comfortable. You don't want to push yourself. What one thing can you change that can change everything about those things that I just mentioned? You could change your paradigm and you could change your understanding of that one word, just using that one word, service. Then you might say, well, I'm a single parent. I'm straining to make ends meet. You might ask, when do I have the time to find the resources to be of service to anyone when I can barely be of service to myself and my family? I'm working 2 jobs, blah, 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 blah. We have all these excuses. I know we have all sorts of excuses that we make when, so I want to challenge you with the quote that Charles Stanley made. He was one of my favorite preachers. I think he passed away last year. He said that in giving us children, God places us in a position of both leadership and service. He calls us to give up our lives for someone else's sake, to abandon our own desires and put our children's interests first. Yet, according to his perfect design, it is through this selfless act that we can become truly fulfilled. And I can attest to that because the moment I had my son, I used to be like really mean and stuff but it changed me. It changed me. I was no longer that girl. I was no longer that person. It changed me to care about, I had this human that I had to care about. I'm like, oh my God, I'm responsible for another life. And I was really young. I'm like, my goodness. So I changed. The way I used to be mean to my mom, I changed. Like, I changed the way I used to look at other people's kids. I'm like, I don't want people to look at my kid like that. I changed because, when that change comes, when God, he says, like, when God gives you children, he's putting you in a position of both leadership and service. You're serving your children right now. You're leading your children right now. Something that they see in you, they're going to repeat later in life. And just like I did with my dad, like my dad is a preacher, and here I am. I'm always preaching. My mom is a worship leader, and here I am worshiping. My mom is an intercessor. My grandmother is an intercessor, and that's where the prophets come from, and whatever. Here I am. I used to say as a kid, I don't want nothing to do with church because of how I had been hurt, but because it was already embedded in me, I could never get away from it. So I asked the Lord, help me to be my own unique self. And every time my dad watches me, he's like, he can't believe it. He can't believe it. So I believe that once we find our true purpose, once we're able to live inside out through knowing who we are, once we find that passion that makes us feel significant, once we are fulfilling purpose, maximizing potential to bring about success, that we can all leave a legacy of hope and morality for the next generation. After all, this is the price that we all pay for living here on earth, right? So I want to end this call today by asking you, what mark are you going to leave here on earth? How are you going to be a servant? How are you going to serve your community? And I want you guys to answer, because I'm going to hold you accountable for it. I'm going to hold you accountable. Yes. So how are you going to serve your community? How are you going to serve? Like even in the chats, how are you going to serve? How are you going to serve your neighborhood? Maybe there's a problem that you can fix. There's something that only you can do. Okay, Miss Felicia, there's something that you can do. But will you ask the Lord today? Ask the Lord, please give me the heart of a servant, so that I'm not, that selfish person that just thinks about themselves. So I'm not that person that's just so self-centered. Help me to become a servant. Help me to become a solution to my community. Every time, there's a time in Dallas where I spoke about, I was sharing mindset, and I spoke about Gideon and the book of Judges, and how they would get into all sorts of tight situations because of their sin, and then every time they would cry out to God, and God would raise up a deliverer. And I was using that whole book of Judges to say how every time He raised a deliverer and delivered them, and I was talking about how every time somebody cries out, there's a cry going on in your community right now. There's a cry going on in your nation right now. There's a cry going on in your family right now, but you are the answer. That's why you notice those things that are going on. That's why you notice all those little things that are happening, because God has made you a solution. God has made you an answer. And every time when somebody cries, he says, I think it's Psalm 105 talks about, let the groaning of the prisoner come before the Lord. And so every time when somebody cries out, guess what God does? He raises a person. He raises a person. Like somebody has in my generation has cried. And so guess what? He said, like, oh, let me raise Shiro. Shiro is going to fulfill that thing. And so whether you know it or not, God has made you an answer. And I want you to declare it over yourself. Let me see it in the chat. You saying, I am an answer to my generation, to my community, to my family. I am an answer. Every time I walk into any room, every time I walk into spaces, I am there to provide solutions. I am there to provide answers. I am an answer to my family. I'm an answer to my community. I'm an answer to my neighborhood. Every time when I walk in, even if it's in a grocery store, I know I'm there. I'm there for a reason, not just I'm there for the groceries yet, but maybe I'm going to meet somebody over there. I'm going to meet somebody there that's going to be like, you know what, Shiro, come here. I mean, I need help with this. You might be going to Sephora and somebody's waiting over there for you to just go and tell them about something that they've been praying about. Because every time somebody cries out, God doesn't answer them and give them, be like, okay, right now let's drop that house to Rita's location. She's at 300 or whatever. Let's just drop that house. That's what she needs. No, He's going to raise somebody who is going to have an answer for you. He raises somebody. It might be me. It might be somebody else. He raises somebody. He raises somebody like Phyllis to tell you about trading. He raises somebody about Carnisha. She's going to be doing the opportunity call, and then you just happen to be on there, and she says something that sparks your interest. So you are an answer. I'm an answer. I walk so confidently every time I walk into rooms, whether it's somebody's house. I know I'm there to solve a problem. I am a walking solution. I am a walking answer. I am loaded with answers and solutions for people that I meet in my day, that I meet in my life, that I meet in the course of in my community, in my world. And so every time when you walk with that mentality, as you're ready to serve, you're ready to just pour out because you know that this is who who God has made me into. And so I ask you again as we end this call. We're about to end it. I keep ending like a pastor, ending like 7 times, but oh my God. Yeah, but I'm about to end it. But I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna keep asking you, what answer are you going to be in your generation? Are you going to leave your dent? Are you going to leave your mark? Will people remember you when you're gone? Let's say, God forbid, nobody's going anywhere, but right now, let's say somebody just goes. Are we going to remember them? Maybe they're on this call. Are we going to remember them? Are we going to remember anything they did? Is their mark big enough for it to be remembered in generations to come that you ever existed? Hmm? Let's not make it. Let's not make the end, the grave to be the end of our life, but let's leave the mark using the talents that God has given us in serving Him and serving humanity. Are you guys excited about today's call? Did you get some value? Did you get some value today? We come to the end of the call. Yes, yes, Rita. Great, great. Awesome. All right, we're going to end it here, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless you.